to their running back free team. Even if you draft somebody to hold up outside of Singletary.
Kenneth Walker might be a starting running back next year.
You think so?
Potentially. I don't know. Kenneth Walker. So the way that I'm looking at my draft right now, so with the 1-4, I definitely think Kenneth Walker is a viable option.
Yeah.
And I mean, depending on where he goes in the draft, might I add this? So everyone's so hyped up on Breece Hall and everything, and so am I. Don't get me wrong. But on some people's big boards, like in the NFL draft standpoint, like where like they just rank people based off of like their skills and everything like that, they have Kenneth Walker above Breece Hall.
Really?
So to me, that's kind of like if I can scoop him at the 1-4 rather than having to trade an arm and a leg to get up to the 1-1 to get Breece Hall, because I mean, like you said, I do need a running back. I need to add some pieces.
Yeah.
But I think Kenneth Walker definitely is a viable option at the 1-4 for sure. And so yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to that.
Are either of them better than Isaiah Spiller?
I think both of them are much better than Isaiah Spiller. I am not high on Isaiah Spiller at all.
Okay.
I think that guy should be like a 3rd or 4th round pick in Dynasty. Mm-hmm. I'm not big on Isaiah Spiller at all. And
okay.
Half of it is because of his calves, which everyone brings up. Like, the guy has no calf strength, which means he's not going to be a good NFL running back. Let's just get that out there, folks.
He's 6'1", he's 215, and he runs a 4.49.
None of that makes any difference to me, because if you look at his calves, I mean, like, if you look at like his explosion, like if you look at what he does with explosion, like, I don't think he had a very good broad jump, and I don't think he had a very good
What are you talking about? Calves. Let me see.
Yeah.
Does he have, like, A.J. Dillon calves?
A.J. Dillon has cows.
What does this guy not have?
He has, like, it literally, like, just goes, like, straight down. Like, there's no, like, real, like, calf to him. That's all I'm saying, man. I don't like the guy that much.
There's no close-up. I mean, I see him wearing skinny jeans. That's not great.
Facts.
Running back shouldn't wear skinny jeans.
Facts, dude. They should be built.
No.
Like
a receiver, maybe. Quarterback, possibly.
Sure.
Running back can't be wearing skinny jeans, bro.
Nah, dude.
If I see my running back wearing skinny jeans,
anything but sweatpants.
I quit. Bro, I quit.
Anything but sweatpants, bro.
Sweatpants are shorts, G. You can't be walking around in skinny jeans.
For real, dog.
And then not huggers.
Man, I don't know. But I think, yeah. So, Kenneth Walker, I think I could get him at the 1-4. I think that's kind of nice. Mm-hmm. And then so on and so forth. Like, what if I reach and get, like, a James Cook with my 110? I don't think that would happen, though.
I got a guy for you.
What's up, bro?
Hassan Haskins out of Michigan.
That's a good thought. But, I don't know. I think if you want to talk value, I think I could get Hassan in, like, the 3rd. Like, I have, I think, I have, like, the 3-3 and the 3-4. Mm-hmm. So I could honestly scoop him with either one of those and be perfectly content. So, all right. I don't know. Like, I don't think I need to scoop him in the 110. I really don't.
I'm going to tell our listeners a story, and this is a true story that occurred about an hour and a half ago. I walked into Dugo's house. I drive over from my place. I'm getting done with work. I'm driving on the highway. I'm stuck in traffic a little bit, whatever. I finally get outside. It's 54 degrees outside in Minneapolis in March, so it's damn near summer for us. And I'm feeling great. I'm feeling alive. We're coming in to do the pod, high energy, and I happen to stroll into Dugo's room. He's sitting here chilling. And what's on the TV? You guessed it. Hassan Haskins highlights. And
he's great,
I was impressed.
Man.
I was impressed.
He's great.
I was very impressed.
Man, he honestly, to me, he should be much higher on everyone's boards than what he currently is.
If you don't have background on Hassan Haskins, he was the running back for Michigan last year when they had their pretty good season. Now, Hassan, like Dugo said, isn't going to be an early round pick. He's probably going to be like a day 2 or day 3 guy, but his profile is amazing. He's 6'1", he's 6'2", he's about 210 to 220. Mm-hmm. So he has a really big frame. He's built for the NFL. He's a downhill runner. He seemed to also have some hands for pass catching, which is also something that you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I'm so high on him is because of his frame. Blocking should not be too big of an issue.
No, it shouldn't, man. He's 6'2", 228. That's what he weighed in at the combine.
He's a fullback.
I mean...
He's damn near a fullback.
I mean, if you want to classify him as someone, I would say he's more closer to like an A.J. Dillon type than a fullback. Like, at least like at that size, that's basically what A.J. Dillon was when he went to the draft.
Okay, but he ran a 4.7 40 in high school.
Yeah,
that was his high school.
I mean,
40.
that's not like a great 40. Like if he runs a 4.7, that doesn't necessarily cut him down as a running back, though.
No.
I mean, he's going to be a power back in the NFL, and honestly, he's probably going to be a vulture. What do I love?
Vultures.
Vulture culture, baby. That's what it's all about.
All right, so where are you taking him in fantasy drafts? At least let's pretend you're going into a dynasty draft in a month, and after the draft, you have to determine where you rank the running backs. Where do you project he goes, and where would you take him?
Yeah, so I would project him going, a place that kind of comes to mind if they don't take a running back sooner in like the late first, second. If he were to go to like the third or fourth round, I could see like the Bills possibly taking a hunch on him because they have Devin Singletary there, who is more, I would say, like kind of like a speeder back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he'd be an extremely good compliment. He would cost less than what they would have to shell out in free agency.
Okay.
And with their new addition of Von Miller, 6-year, $120 million contract.
Big money.
I don't know how much money they really have left to throw around, so I think that would be great value.
Do you think J.D. McKissick ended up blessing the Bills with just enough cap space? Like they were at 113, but McKissick dipped, and now they had 120 to offer Von.
Yeah, I think so, man. Like I think that very well could have been. I mean, I'm honestly not looking much into their cap either, so who really knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, like if they wanted to make a splash, this was their splash. Like,
for sure. And they also signed O.J. Howard out of Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Which I couldn't imagine. I don't think there's a better landing spot for him.
No, I think he's going to do great up there. I'm excited to see how him and Dawson Knox kind of share that workload.
I think the Bills are probably going to go with 2 tight end personnel.
Yeah, I think that would really work out, and that would work out in like Hassan's favor too. You know, that's more of a power set. They have 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe Gabe Davis gets that other, like the X role.
Yeah, well,
outside.
Gabriel Davis, he'll probably... We'll see what happens.
Opposite from Stephon, at least,
We'll see. They could draft someone too. Like, what if they take someone else? Or I don't know. Like, I don't see Gabriel Davis being a number 2. Like
they could draft a really good receiver in the second. They could go running back receiver.
Yeah, they could.
When you give Von Miller somebody to shore up that defense,
and I don't think they really lost anyone on that defense either. So I think that would be a really good draft plan.
Yeah.
Good for us. Wow, we should take
we should definitely get a front office job.
Son of a bitch, man. I've been saying this.
I'm counting the days.
For real, man. But back to Hassan Haskins. So, I would say in NFL draft, probably around like that 3. So maybe 3's a little high. So probably like 4 to like 6, I would say he'd probably fall to. Like I know NFL, they have him slated. Like I think his rating is like a 5.88.
Okay.
I don't really buy into those all that much because it says that he's destined to be basically like either like a decent backup or like a special teamer. I kind of see him more as that.
I can see that.
I don't know. Like I see him at least as like at least a I don't know, like at least like an RB2. Like I mean, yeah, that's still a backup, but I think he's gonna have more of a role than that. Like I think he could be a bona fide starter.
Yeah, no doubt.
At least at some point.
I agree with you. I don't have anything to say. And
I don't know. And then if you're looking at Dynasty, depending on where he does end up going, I could see him, if you really like this guy like I do, you could take a flyer in like the 3rd. Maybe he sits on your taxi squad for a year while you kind of figure out and feel out what he's doing.
His situation matters a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, if he goes somewhere and he's going to sit for a couple years, I would maybe take him in the 5th.
Because with that, too, he's not going to step in anywhere and be a lead back.
No, he
So you're projecting to properly assess the situation. You have to project into 2, 3, 4 years from now. So who is he backing up?
Yeah, basically something like that. Like he's gonna be backing up someone for the first 2 or 3 years, like you said.
So if he goes somewhere like Cincinnati, in which they have a high-powered offense, Mixon is, he's been in the league a few years now.
He could definitely take some of those harder hits off him and put him on a rookie.
Yeah, or if Mixon gets
nice.
hurt and he has to step in as the lead back, like...
Yeah, that'd be something. Yeah.
he's like the Alexander... You want to stash him like an Alexander Madison. If you have Alexander Madison on your team, you're stashing him in hopes that he gets a starting gig somewhere, but you see the potential when he gets his shots.
I would say...
I think Hassan is
their
going to be...
Their profiles coming out, I think, are a little different. I think Madison was a little...
Madison smaller, but...
Yeah, I think he was also a little more well-known. Or not necessarily well-known, but I think he was more sought after.
Where'd Madison go? Boise?
He went to Boise, yeah.
Boise State?
Yeah, and I think he really popped out there. So, I don't know. I think he might have been more just sought after, maybe in Dynasty, stuff like that.
I think a year from now, Hassan is going to be that guy who's on the NFL bench that every fantasy owner wants like a share of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I could see that.
Like maybe not the extent of Pollard, but like around like that. I don't know who would be a good example. Yeah, I think he's... I guess you could say he's not as big as AJ Dillon.
No. Well, he honestly, Hassan, he's just about like he's 6'2", 228.
I don't think he's as heavy.
I think he is just as heavy. I just don't think his legs are as built. Like, I think his weight's probably going elsewhere. Like, he might be more, like, built up top or something.
AJ... Yeah, you're right, actually. AJ's only 6 foot, but he's 247.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he's just, like, stockier looking.
Yep.
But regardless, he's somebody that you're going to want to have on your bench. Not really... What else is going on? Are there any other rookies you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, man. There are a couple. There's one sleeper that I really like. A lot of people out there I've been seeing on the Twitter sphere has been kind of coining this guy as like the next like James Robinson.
Oh.
So small school guy, but
sneaky RB1.
Yeah, man. Like he's really explosive, and if he gets an opportunity, he could honestly pop off.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Pierce Strong. Pierce Strong Jr. coming out of South Dakota State U. He was really explosive out there. I didn't really watch a bunch of his tape, but from what I've seen of him already and what I've heard, I think he's gonna be a good back when it comes to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is pretty fast. He went to the combine and he absolutely blew off everyone's shoes there.
A lot of shoes.
Yeah, a lot of shoes are blown off. So that's just something that, you gotta give a little props to. You gotta kind of think, dang, what else can this guy do?
What about Boise State receiver Khalil Shakir?
Well, I think he's gonna pop off as well. But I mean, back to Pierce Strong. Like this guy, a lot of people like to think about size. They like to know that stuff. So just to give you a little bit of background, he's 5'11", 207. These are his draft numbers, so they're real. They aren't college numbers. And this guy also ended up running a 4.37 at the draft.
That's impressive.
So, I mean, he gives you a little bit of speed there. He had a vertical jump of 36 inches, broad jump of 124. So he has a little bit of explosion behind him as well. I think he could definitely be a dual threat back when it comes to the NFL because he has hands. He was basically meant to do everything at South Dakota State. Like, this guy was doing everything there. Like, when you think of South Dakota State, you don't really think of anyone else really coming out lately.
No.
But this guy he's getting, like, looked at a lot lately.
Okay.
And I think he could definitely develop into a starter.
He's a good catcher, isn't he?
Yeah, he has hands, man. He definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's right on the edge of like where I would draft him would be kind of like Hassan. Like if you want to take a flyer in the third for the guy because you really like him, like I do.
Okay.
Or you could end up like just feeling out, like
see if he goes undrafted.
Yeah, Well, I wouldn't.
He'll be like a 5th round. He's gonna be like the Khalil Herbert of this year, basically.
Exactly. I would. Yeah, if he goes anywhere beyond like the 4th or 5th, like if he goes undrafted in your league, that's definitely someone that I would pick up immediately once free agency is back open in your league.
ASAP.
Like, that's unreal. Like, if he goes undrafted, like, that's someone that you pick up and stash in your taxi and you just wait to see what happens.
Random question, but do you think free agency should be open prior to the rookie draft? Or do you think it should be closed until after the rookie draft?
I like that. So like, I see why it's open because what you can kind of do
Or
is...
closed?
No, I like that it's open beforehand because...
Or I'm talking about fantasy football.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So for fantasy
no,
football sakes, like, do you want to allow your league mates to pick up players at all times of the day prior to the rookie draft, or do you want to tentatively shut down the league for a few months until you guys draft your rookies and kind of start the new season?
Well, I kind of like that it's shut down because it kind of puts a hold on everything other than trading.
Yeah.
Like, you can trade and everything like that, and I think you can get a lot of good value,
True.
new value doing that.
True.
Like, we've had a couple trades lately.
We had a big trade yesterday.
Well, I wouldn't call it a huge trade or anything like that, but
this was a huge trade, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, maybe because it ended up kind of biting you a little bit, but
So, J.D. McKissick not only fucked over Antonio Gibson, but he fucked me over too. J.D. McKissick decided to join the Buffalo Bills. Was it March? Was that Monday? No, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah.
The morning of March 15th, he decides that he wants to sign with the Bills for 2 years, $7 million.
Yep. Good
Great
contract.
money, good contract,
Good team.
Good team. You can go win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
12 hours later, or the next day, basically this morning it came out.
Yeah.
So about 24 hours later, it's announced that he's going back to the Commanders.
Yep.
And he's going to be the vulture in Washington.
Yep.
And take away AG's tutties
Yep.
and catches
Yep.
and third down work.
Sure is. Yeah,
I have
man.
Antonio Gibson on my team.
I have J.D. McKissick on mine, so I've never been happier.
I'm not happy, but he's happy as fuck.
I'm extremely happy because I basically acquired 2 running backs in that trade.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not only do I get to take away some of your guys' carries, some of his touches, some of his pass, or some of his receptions, just some of his time out
Dude, that's
there.
not...
But I also then took one of your running backs that you could throw in any given matchup with Devin Singletary.
Yeah, so we traded... I gave Dugo Devin Singletary, and in return... And let me say this. Adam Thielen's like 32. He's older. Last year, KJ Osborne stepped into the scene. He was good. He was wide receiver 39 in a lot of leagues.
Yep.
KJ... And he has dreads. Like, let's be real. Like, receivers with dreads are dank. Like, I'm just going to say it. But KJ Osborne, he's stepping into the Vikings offense. They throw a ton. They're down a lot. He's going to be opposite of Justin Jefferson. I like that. So I traded Dugo Devin Singletary for KJ Osborne.
Yeah, and I couldn't be happier about it as of right now, man.
Like, I needed a receiver because I have a bunch of running backs who are, like, kind of mid, like RB2, RB3s.
Yep.
And Dugo happened to have KJ, and Dugo could use a couple extra running backs just to have.
Yeah, I could always use some running backs, but like
Yeah.
I think this was a great trade for me because I acquired RB20, I think he was.
He was RB20 last year. He was
Yeah.
RB2.
And if you look at it, man, I would much rather have the RB20 than wide receiver 39, 100%. This is my personal preference, but
Wow.
I don't know.
I think in the short term, you win that trade.
Yeah, I think you probably have like the better like long term like possibilities.
Yeah.
Like if KJ does end up being like a bona fide number 2 on the Vikings, which
It could have happened.
So some of the reason why like I made the trade is because there's some people out there who for some reason they think the Vikings are gonna take like Garrett Wilson or something at like number 12 or whenever they draft. And so to me, it kind of thinks like he's just going to be pushed down that roster. And so I'm preemptively
Trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, trying to get ahead of that.
KJ Osborne he's going into his 3rd year now. So
Yep.
last year was his 2nd.
Yep.
So he's going to be a 3rd-year receiver. That's typically when we see a lot of boom.
Yep,
I'm not saying he's going to...
breakouts.
I'm not going to say boom, but I mean, by year 3, you're pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you are what you are at that point.
Yep.
So KJ, Thielen was injured for a good part of last year, so he got his time to shine. I think that next year, moving forward, I think Thielen, as good of a receiver as he is, I mean, he's not gonna have the same. He doesn't have the same speed now that he had 3-4 years ago.
Probably not the same speed, but one thing they do have is that same connections with.
No doubt, him and
Kirk
Cousins have a really like productive relationship.
Yeah,
like, they have a great whatever. And so I think KJ is at a point to where we're gonna see him at his max or at his peak within the next year or two. And last year he placed as wide receiver 39.
Yep.
Somewhere in the 30s. So, like, he's that rough wide receiver 3 range. What happens when he scores a couple more touchdowns or he gets 10-15% more snap share or he gets a couple more targets?
Yeah, there's definitely potential, but, I mean, it all kind of just depends on what happens, because if they do bring in another wide receiver that they like more than him, or if they just want to feature wide receivers more than spread the ball around, because it seemed like the Rams last year, who they brought in the OC for, it seemed like regardless of what was happening, they either were keen on one of the wide receivers, and that was like their game plan. Like, it seemed like Kupp was always, well, Kupp is Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp is amazing. But it seemed like regardless, it didn't matter. They wanted to get him the ball, and they were trying to scheme them open at any cost.
Yeah.
And so if they have that same relationship with like Thielen and Cousins, or Jefferson and Cousins, you know, because they definitely have a better relationship on the field than what KJ Osborne and Cousins do.
They started Formula 1 last year, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously just like a time thing. It's because of reps. It's a whole thing. You know, like,
for sure.
I'm not shitting on KJ Osborne. I'm just saying, if that's something that they want to try to do, because that's something that the Rams, at least to me, that's kind of like, it looked like that was their game plan. Like, they really wanted to focus on wide receiver and scheme them open. I mean, you saw it in the Super Bowl with OBJ until he got injured. That's really what they were trying to do, it looked like, and they were successful with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That's kind of what I see going forward with the Vikings, and so...
Dude, KJ Osborne just has the fantasy face. KJ Osborne
I don't understand what you mean by that.
Dude, he has the face that, like, you look at on a Sunday when your team's down by 12 and you have KJ Osborne on Sunday Night Football and he's the last player in your matchup and you believe that he can get you 13. It's
Unless
possible.
he shits the bed and gets you 11.5.
Fantasy face is a real thing, and I think that people need to give it real credence and respect the powers that be.
You know, honestly, this is the first time that you've ever brought it up, so I don't really know how much you believe in that.
I don't bring it up because that's sacred. That's something that you don't talk about.
Oh.
It's just like a mutual understanding between you and the player that, you know, they have a fantasy face.
Sure. I at this point, I think you might just be full of shit.
I might be.
Anyways, man, let's talk about the big splash landings that just happened.
Okay.
More particularly, I want to talk about the Jags, man. They kind of made some huge splashes the other day.
They did. We made a big... So we made a Christian Kirk reel on Instagram. You guys should go check out.
Yeah.
A lot of insight, a lot of numbers as far as like catch percentage, all those like in-depth numbers that a lot of the fantasy analysts and nerds like to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But it also takes peeks into some of the plays that show why the Jags picked him up.
Yeah.
They actually show some clips from the game in which he played the Jags and had his season high performance. 104 yards on 6 catches, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Touchdown in there.
Yep.
Christian Kirk is a beneficiary of the trade. I was one of the initial haters of the trade when it happened.
Okay.
I wasn't for it. I thought that he was going to a less efficient offense than what Arizona is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know what Trevor Lawrence is yet.
Right.
But the way I think of it is with Doug Peterson, and when I think back to that 2017 Eagles team, they ran a running back by committee.
Yep.
They were pretty heavy on the RPO.
Yep.
I think they had an RPO fake out, which ended up being the Philly.
No, so what happened with that is they basically went wildcat with it. So Nick Foles offset out to the side, wildcat snap to Corey Clement. Corey Clement flipped it to Trey Burton. Trey Burton threw it to Nick Foles in the end zone.
So Peterson likes to get active in his backfield.
Yeah, he likes his gadget plays. He likes stuff like that where they're utilizing people in different positions to make the most out of them. And I think Christian Kirk, he's one of the better athletes, I think, in the NFL. I thought that, honestly, coming into the draft when he first got into the scene, just watching this film from Texas A&M, like, this guy is just a bona fide athlete.
He is.
Like, he might be a little on the short side, but he's probably one of the more stockier wide receivers out there that can take hits. And if you wanted someone to have, if you wanted a wide receiver where they could be a running back, they can be a wide receiver, you can use them anywhere.
Isn't that Laviska Shenault, though?
It's honestly, yeah, it is. But I'm not sure if it's true. No one's really heard anything since, but a lot of people think he might be on the trade market.
How do you feel about that?
I honestly, if it does, it obviously just helps Christian Kirk out a little bit more. But if they keep him, I don't think it hurts either.
Because
I don't think it hurts anyone. I think it hurts Laviska's fantasy numbers for sure. But as a team, I think it might help him explode.
What is Viska's ceiling? Because I've heard nothing but hype about him for the last couple of years, and I was always...
How many shares do you own of this cat?
0.
Good. I don't know, man. Like, I think he's a good wide receiver. I think there's a lot of talent that could be had. He just needs to find the right system where he can flourish. And right now, with them adding all these different wide receivers, and they're paying them a lot more than him, and they're handpicking them for a different scheme.
I just don't understand. I don't understand the obsession that a lot of people have with him because...
No, I don't either.
Here's the thing. You want him to be Deebo Samuel, but he's not as fast as Deebo. That's like one of the big reasons why he doesn't have production.
Yep.
Jamal Agnew came in last year and outproduced him from the second he stepped in.
Yeah.
Like, Laviska is bigger, cool, but like, I mean, he's playing outside linebackers for the most part. So, like, regardless, he's still the smaller guy in the matchup.
Yeah,
it's not like he's playing outside corners and he's leveraging that in his favor.
Yeah, when he was coming into the NFL, coming into the draft and everything, he was coming out of Colorado, which that's a Pac-10 school, Pac-12 school, and a lot of those DBs, they're typically like 6 foot, like 150.
Yeah,
and so
small.
If you get like a screen on someone,
yeah,
one of the reasons why everyone loved him was because he would bulldozer everyone. Like, he saw a cornerback in front of him, he would toss him over.
Hasn't happened in the NFL.
You can do that with people who are 6 foot 150 in college when you're 5'11", 210. You know, like, if you're built like that, you're built different. You can obviously do stuff like that, but he's obviously, like you said, slower than Deebo Samuel. He's still quick, you know. Don't take that away from him. But he just doesn't have all those tangibles that you really want. Like, he's a great wide receiver.
Yeah,
if he finds the right system, he can probably flourish, but
I don't understand it. And, like, he catches pretty decently, nothing crazy. Like,
it seems like he always has a couple drops, though.
Yeah, like, he doesn't do anything above average. He's just a big guy. He's just big. Like, that's his redeeming quality, and I'm like, I don't understand that. And maybe he'll go somewhere to where he can actually utilize his abilities to, you know, whatever, but I'm not big on him for fantasy right now. I'm not saying he doesn't have a future, but as it stands in Jacksonville, it doesn't look great.
So let's talk about another Jaguar position that seems to kind of get. I can't believe we're really getting into the Jaguars as much.
Oh, I'm done.
So obviously they had Dan Arnold there last year at the tight end position. Now they're adding Evan Ingram. Where do you think his fantasy projections are going to go with this addition?
Man. I think he benefits.
Yeah, I
think he benefits.
I would say so as well. I think Daniel Jones has probably been limiting him the last couple of years, so I don't think he can really go any worse than what he was.
I know that Zach Ertz had a weird falling out in Philly, and I think that might have been around the time that Nick Sirianni became the coach for the team.
Yeah, yep. They got traded the same year that Sirianni, like, that was last year when Ertz got traded. That was like week 6 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, he probably just wasn't molding with that anymore.
Now, in 2017, when I think back to just the Peterson years, you can even go to 2018, and from 2017 and 2019, Zach Ertz was about the third best receiver or the third best tight end in fantasy football.
Yeah, he was explosive. He was great. Everyone loved him.
In 2017, he was the third best. In 2018, he was the second best. And in 2019, he was the fourth best. What do Evan Ingram and Zach Ertz have in common?
Size,
and they're pass catchers. It's not really Ingram's fault that the quarterbacks he dealt with were Eli Manning and Daniel Jones.
Right.
Like, what is he supposed to do about that?
Not much, man. Like, you literally can't. You just go out there and you do your best. And he's been productive. He has.
He has been. And, like, now he gets Trevor Lawrence, who, while he's still developing, is going to target the tight end. That's going to be kind of like his fallback guy. And Ingram has the ability to catch, to get open, and to hopefully get some production. Definitely. But I think the biggest thing with Ingram is just his health, and can he stay healthy? And I hope he's able to. But if you have Ingram shares, I think you have to hold as opposed to sell right now.
Definitely, yeah. I would see how it goes, 100%. And if anything, by like week 4 or 5, you could be selling high if you want to get rid of them.
Shit, that's what I'm saying. Like, some of these dudes who people are so eager to get off of, like, let them go into the season and get a decent start.
Yeah.
You could go and package them in a trade and get some decent value out of them.
Definitely.
So, and the thing about Ingram is he's only 27, so in tight end years, he's like 25, like...
Yeah, he's just breaking out. He's getting into his own. Yeah.
Basically. But, yeah, no, I think he's somebody that I would like to have on my team.
For sure. I agree with you, man. Looking elsewhere, so there's been some other big splashes as well. Pittsburgh, they added a new quarterback to their regime. They got
Mitchell Trubisky.
What
do you think?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if you can really do much worse than what Big Ben was this year. So I think it's an improvement for them, I guess. But I think that there's a lot of question marks. Like, I still think, like, let's say like Malik Willis drops down to wherever they're drafting. I think that they still take him in the first round, 100%.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I think it's a good placeholder. He can hand off the ball at least. He was able to utilize Matt Nagy's offense and take him to the playoffs once. So, or twice maybe. I don't know. But, you know, like, it'll be for a year.
He's being paid backup money.
Yeah, he is.
He signed 2 years for $14 million as a quarterback.
Yeah.
So, like, he's being paid as a backup. He'll go into camp as the guy, and then they'll probably get somebody to transition in halfway through the season.
Yeah, like I said, Malik Willis, unless like he goes to like Detroit or something.
Yeah.
I think he would be a good landing point at
Or Kenny Pickett.
I wouldn't want Kenny Pickett.
I want Kenny Pickett on my team.
That's disgusting.
It's March 16th, 2022. I'm saying that I want Kenny Pickett on my team if I'm looking for a quarterback.
Do you think Kenny Pickett's going to be the best quarterback out of this group?
Yeah.
I'll hold you to it.
Yeah.
Next, we have Tyrod Taylor going to the New York Giants, getting more money than what Daniel Jones is guaranteed. What are your thoughts on that?
They don't believe in Daniel Jones.
I wouldn't either, honestly. Yeah, Brian Dabble, he's probably just trying to save his ass right now.
Yeah. He
wasn't able to get Mitch Trubisky, which I think he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were there in Buffalo together. But, you know, he gets the next best thing with Tyrod Taylor, who might even be better.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, I'm excited about this. Let's see what happens. I actually have Daniel Jones on my roster. So, if he's starting week 1, or if Tyrod Taylor's starting week 1, I hope he's not on my team.
Like, yeah, Tyrod got 2 years, $17 million. Yeah. So they're still paying him almost $9 million a year, which is still, you know,
it's
more than Trubisky, and that's what I meant by Trubisky's getting backup money.
Yeah,
like 2 years, $14.5 million. I'm not expecting Trubisky to be the starter for the Steelers next year.
Yeah, I know, man. Like,
he's just a high end backup because
I could expect it though. I could expect him to be the starter.
Yeah, maybe give him a shot. I agree with you.
Unless, like I said, unless like they get someone in the first round or someone that they truly trust, I expect him to be the starter.
As a player, do you? Because the way I view it is, I view Trubisky being set up as the fall guy.
I don't know if he's gonna. Well, like he could definitely be someone that they utilize to get like the first pick next year.
Well, so what I mean by that is like he serves like a Jared Goff, like a Tyrod Taylor, like Eli Manning in his last years. Like he's a transition guy.
Yeah, he's definitely that 100%.
As a player, how do you feel about? Do you embrace that, or do you really want to go somewhere that's going to give you a fair shot?
Well, I think if you're in his shoes, like no one else is gonna give you a starting role, and at least you're going somewhere where your competition right now, as of right now, is Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
I think Mitch Trubisky can beat
And
Mason
Dwayne
Rudolph.
Haskins.
Yeah, I think regardless, I think he comes out as QB1.
One of them is getting dropped before.
Yeah, and so with that, like I said,
Shocking.
unless they were to pick up someone in the first round, I see Trubisky being QB1.
You think so?
Yeah, I really do. And then depending how cap goes, Tyrod Taylor could be starter for the Giants. And then another question mark that had come up with a recent signing, Teddy Bridgewater to Miami. So we just had Mike McDaniel on the Pat McAfee show a couple weeks ago, or maybe even last week. He was saying, like, he just went all in about, like, how Tua is his boy. Like, how, like, he was so excited about him being the starter there. And, you know, how everyone was so excited about Tua finally having someone who is confident in him. And now they go out and get Teddy B. Do you think that's just going to be, like, a mentoring role? Or do you think that if shit hits the fan, do you think that they're just going to go with Teddy B?
I think that they're getting Teddy to be a high quality backup.
Sure.
I think they're going to try new things with Tua. And because you're trying something new, it may or may not work, obviously. But I believe that Teddy is going to be a placeholder of Tua at any point during training camp, at any point during OTAs. Doesn't seem like he can be their guy. They can say all they want to say when it's February or March.
Right.
But, I mean, once you get into an office with somebody every day, you don't know what you're getting.
No, that's for sure, man.
Like,
and, well, the crazy thing that comes to mind for me, so Mike McDaniel, he's such a calculated person in my eyes because he's someone who went to Yale. You gotta be a fucking stud to go to Yale.
He's a smart dude.
And, you know, I don't know. So, because of that, I give him a little bit of, like, a nudge, like, hey, like, good for you. And he's taking the reins with someone who is a left-handed quarterback and someone who, like, just is that intelligent. I think, like, in the back of their mind, they've been thinking throughout their whole lives, if we have a left-handed quarterback, these are the plays that would absolutely just pop off. And, like, I just feel like he's just one of those people who just thinks differently like that. And I think this is a great opportunity for him to...
That's an amazing point that you just brought up. What I would add to that is that Teddy Bridgewater is going to serve as a great leader.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater is going to be like a locker room guy. So if Tua isn't necessarily the locker room guy, the guy to get everybody to rally, I think Teddy's been around the block enough to know like how to do things and how it works and how to talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at each team he's been to, whether it be the Vikings, the Panthers, now the Broncos, everyone has talked extremely high of the guy. Like, they've always said...
That's really important. That's a really underrated... Like, I would pay $17 million for a 2-year deal if I got somebody who just came in and made my locker room better.
Right, yeah. So
that's worth the money.
Yeah, so I think this is more or less, like, right now, I think if you are a tool holder, I think he's still going to be starter week 1. I would just say this, I think this Teddy hire, I think it's more for morale, mentorship, and development.
Who was your backup before?
I mean, their backup before, that's a really good question.
I have no clue who it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know before it was Ryan Fitzpatrick was there. But...
Oh, yeah, it was Fitzpatrick and Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think they get rid of Brissett then? Probably.
More than likely.
Yeah, I don't think he was very successful last year.
You could trade him to Indy for, like, some...
Like a 5th again? Something. Yeah, you could get something.
You get something out of it.
Better than nothing.
Shit,
man.
Because the thing about Teddy is that the Dolphins are going to be in the media no matter what happens.
Yeah.
If they pop, they're going to be in the media, but if they suck, like the Tua questions are going to keep coming and coming and coming.
Right.
So basically, by bringing in Teddy, you're bringing in somebody who's been around the block, They know how to act. They're in a position of leadership, and they can kind of lead your team to where they need to be.
I think, yeah, that's definitely true. I think he could definitely get you there.
Yeah.
He's almost like a Mitch Trubisky. Like, he doesn't do anything extremely well, but what he does do extremely well, at least in this case for Teddy, he's a great leader, it seems like. So at least he has that for him. I'm excited for that, man. Let's see what happens with that.
Yo, speaking of quarterbacks, I want to talk about Deshaun Watson.
What do you want to talk about,
So,
man? Like, this guy is popping off right now.
I said the date earlier. I'm going to run it back. It's March 16, 2022. We don't know where Deshaun Watson is landing as of 7 o'clock. Yeah.
Yep.
Of his 4 potential landing spots, we're being told it's the Falcons, it's the Browns, it's the Panthers, it's the Saints. Out of those 4, where do you think he's going to land?
Falcons.
You think the Falcons?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the Falcons just because like he has that hometown vibe. Well, like he was from Atlanta. He was a ball boy for the Falcons back in the day, so he has just like that personal nudge to it. And I think what they're able to do is they're able to kind of build a team around his image, and they're able to kind of do what the Texans should have done. I think. The only bad thing about it though is what they're gonna have to give up, and that team is already so disassembled as is.
They're just giving up future draft cap, but the thing about that is when you get Watson, that draft capital isn't as valuable to the team receiving it, because Watson is Watson, and he's gonna make that team better.
Yeah, but I mean,
so instead of you drafting at the top of the draft, those picks are not gonna be middle to late first rounders, second rounders.
So you're telling me with the Falcons team as is. You think that that's still a middle of the pack team? Are you fucking nuts?
Name 2 players in their defense.
I can't.
Exactly.
So they're going to be at the bottom still. They're going to be a bottom.
What I'm saying is a Falcons package is going to be their 2 current best players on the roster. This Matt Ryan and somebody else.
Yeah, and some draft picks.
And a bunch of first, second rounders.
Yes, which are going to be towards the top.
But obviously, you're going to have other draft picks in a current draft unless you just really give them a haul.
Which you have to for this.
Which you would have to. And in that case, you know what? I take back my opinion. They're still going to suck for a year maybe. But because you have Watson, your most important position is secured, and you're going to attract free agents, and you're going to have a lot easier of a time building your team out.
I think in the long run, like 2-3 years down, I think they could start being successful. But I don't think anywhere in the next 2 years are they going to be playoff contenders.
I also want to bring up this point too. What's happening with Watson right now in the media is I don't know what happened. I don't know who's innocent or guilty, and I'm not going to act like I do. But I will say that he's going through it right now, like PR-wise.
Yeah.
Like, it's a PR nightmare, basically. And so we've seen the most similar cases to something like this that we have seen, which we've never seen something like this because it's 22 different victims, you know, claiming that something did or did not happen. But I would say the last 2 cases we've seen similar to this are Ben Roethlisberger and Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
So when I think about how both of those images were healed in the eye of public opinion, you could finally start to look past it, was because they were a part of winning organizations. When what happened to Ben Roethlisberger happened, the Steelers were in the middle of their prime. I think they were either fresh off a Super Bowl or they were going to a Super Bowl. Regardless, Ben Roethlisberger has won 2 Super Bowls. He's been in 3. From 2004 until 2011, he was always in the mix, essentially, because that defense was incredible.
Yeah, so what are you getting at? Because
I'm getting at what I'm trying to get at by saying that is that Deshaun Watson doesn't have 2 to 3 years to wait to rebuild his legacy, because those victims, though they legally don't have enough evidence to take it to criminal court, they're gonna drag his name through the mud, and public perception is everything. So if I'm Deshaun Watson, I want to go somewhere where I'm gonna win this year. I'm gonna be a Super Bowl contender this year.
Yep.
When Tom Brady went to court because of the quote-unquote deflation of the footballs, he came back the next year and made Roger Goodell give him his MVP Super Bowl trophy.
Yep.
He beat the Falcons that year after he came off his suspension.
Yeah.
So winning cures all. And if Deshaun Watson goes somewhere like the Panthers, like the Falcons, even the Saints, dog, you're not beating the Buccaneers and Tom Brady your first year. you don't have the roster to, and you're assuming that Tom Brady is or isn't going to be around in 2 to 3 years when really he doesn't even know.
Right.
That's so much of a gamble. If I'm his agent, if I'm his PR rep, I'm saying go to Cleveland. They have pieces they can realistically give Houston.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in the same division. You can go to what'll still be a above average roster. You can give up 2-3 good players and you still got 8 more.
Yep.
And you can win now to a city that's never won before.
Yep.
Do you understand the positive press that would bring to your name?
Well, the Browns, they've won before.
They, not in recent memory, basically.
Right, right.
So I'm saying, like, you put the Browns as legitimate Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
You could take a city that will do anything for a Super Bowl, and you're now the hero to come to this small city, and they have an elite roster built around you, but you'll still get the credit.
Yep.
And you can get a fucking Super Bowl in the middle of all this bullshit. And obviously, hopefully he did not do those things, but regardless of if he did or didn't, I mean, your public perception is pretty positive.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand completely. I mean, like, this guy...
That's long-term legacy shit. Like, I'm not fucking... Bro, don't put me on the Falcons for 3 years.
No, exactly, man. Like, if he goes to the Falcons, you might as well just label his career almost ended at that point.
That's career suicide. Because as pretty as it is, and as much as it'll get, like, Twitter hits for, like, 2 weeks...
Yeah, because, like, he's going back to the hometown place, like, this and that, until... You know, week 1 hits and he's getting hit in the face because he doesn't have a line because of this and that.
He doesn't have receivers to pass to. He has a rookie week 1 who's expected to be Julio Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Falcons because of the hometown vibes, and I think he'd look dirty in that uniform, but long-term goals...
It's short-term hype, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I agree with you with the Browns. I think that's a good fit. As much as I don't like that he'd be playing in Cleveland... I think it's cool, though. Like, I mean, he's not going to get a bunch of media attention there because not a lot of people want to go to Cleveland.
Nope.
So that's going to be nice for him.
People will shut the fuck up about you. You'll be winning games. You'll have the best roster to win.
Cleveland can...
and it's a hero story.
Yeah, and plus they're able to trade Baker. And Baker, he's still worth a decent amount. So, like, they won't have to give up as much, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's still young. Like, the Texans can still take him. And
Baker can still go to Houston and continue to be Baker.
Yeah, unless they want to go with David Mills, which, I mean, he looks cool, but I don't know how that's going to go.
Bro, I could see Baker as a Texans quarterback for a long time.
I could see that, too. I think he's from Texas, I think. So
Isn't he? Yeah, he's from Texas, yeah.
So that could kind of make sense, man. What do you think happens with all this Baker fallout, though? Like, he posted that Cleveland love story the other night saying basically how, like, if I do get traded, this and that, like, I still love you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's the ultimate destiny? Is he's going to get traded somewhere?
He has to now.
Like, if it's not the Texans, do you think he gets traded to, like, the Colts?
It's too weird. It's a locker room distraction now. Like, he can't go back he can't go back to off-season training and OTAs and to not be a...
It's going to be so awkward, man. And, like, obviously the professionals that can play through that, but, like, dude...
Don't put your team at that distraction when you have, like, Super Bowl intentions.
Yeah. I mean...
But, like, I think the thing with Baker is that he just wants to go somewhere he's appreciated. He also had a really bad season with the fans last year.
And he was hurt the whole season as well.
Bro, like, the fans, like, attacked his wife or came at his wife or something like that. And once you do that, I mean, you kind of just... Like, that's the thing, too. Like, you can't just bounce back from that. You don't just forget that. Even if it's a close friend, like, I don't know, man. That's something that just is a lot easier said than done.
True. And obviously, money cures a lot of things. And, commitment through an organization where you can build up your legacy again. That's really cool as well. But honestly, at this point, it seems like they've almost burned their bridges. And... Like keep going. And like we were alluding to, I think like if they were to trade Baker, whether they trade him to the Texans possibly in this Deshaun Watson trade, or if they're able to keep him and trade him towards like the Colts, use some of those assets to trade towards Watson if it's like a 3-way trade or something. I think both those fit out perfectly because Baker, he still gets a running back to where he's able to, lean on them. And you get Deshaun Watson with an unreal offense and an unreal defense, which he's never had really before.
And he can elevate those receivers like Donovan People-Jones and Higgins and all those other guys too. So that's important as well because they're only going to spend so much draft capital, or they're only going to have so much draft capital left to go get that elite receiver who everyone thinks that they're going to go get.
Yeah, and I mean, they could definitely be drafting someone as well. Like, if they're able to keep some of their assets, if they were to do, like, a combined, like, three-way trade, like, if they can keep, like, their first or second this year, like, that's huge. Like, if they can go out and get, like, another wide receiver for Watson, like, if
That'd
they
be
get,
cool.
like, a Sky Moore.
Bring in somebody from Houston. Make Houston give you a receiver.
If you... Bro, like, what if they do, like, Brandon Cooks and Deshaun Watson for, like...
Do Nico Collins. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have as much, like, capital, but he still has a decent ceiling.
Jones and Nico Collins, the first.
You got Amari Cooper down there.
Yeah.
That's also another thing. I've been all over the Amari Cooper train. Like I said, if y'all follow us on Instagram, you saw the Amari Cooper reel that we did. I think that's, like, our most popular reel so far. But Amari Cooper is somebody that is super interesting this offseason. He's new to the Browns. Most of us predict that he's going to have a larger target share, but what's not being discussed is the fact that he also might have Deshaun Watson as his quarterback while also retaining a larger target share than what he would have got on the Cowboys.
Yeah, and you know, like, because they're a star factor, I mean, they're going to be looking for each other the whole time while they're on the field if they were to be on that field together. Like, regardless of who Amari's quarterback is, whether it's Baker, whether it's Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to be blown up this year. I would say he's probably going to be at least top 20.
The closest thing Watson has had to that is DeAndre Hopkins when Hopkins was in Houston.
And I mean, like, they were always looking for each other other than, who was that other guy on the Texans? Will Fuller. Yeah, he was also one of their boys, and I think, I don't know.
Hopkins had a really good run. I mean, Hopkins was good regardless of who the quarterback was, but it's reassuring knowing that if I get Watson as the quarterback for my wide receiver 1, my wide receiver 2, and Amari Cooper, I know that Cooper's going to get his targets, and when it's crunch time, like, it's not going to be CeeDee Lamb catching touchdowns or Dalton Schultz catching, like, 20-yard catches.
Yeah, and you know, the ball's going to get there, too. Like, he's a reliable quarterback, and he throws an accurate ball. He's hardly ever off. Like, it's nice to have DeAndre Hopkins. He obviously makes up for a lot of mistakes. But Amari Cooper kind of does the same thing. Like, Dak Prescott doesn't always throw the perfect ball either.
Yeah, Amari runs amazing routes.
You know, Baker, he doesn't always throw the perfect ball. And I think whoever the quarterback is, I think they probably get a little bit of a bump up as well. Just because they're having Amari on their team. So I think that's pretty sicko.
All right, quick question.
What's up?
So obviously earlier today, Julio Jones got released from the Titans.
Yeah.
If you don't know, now you do know. Julio Jones was released from the Titans. Right now, their receiver core looks like AJ Brown and then just a bunch of other dudes. Are you, as an AJ Brown dynasty holder, hypothetically?
Yep.
Are you preemptively kind of just assuming that next year he's going to be just a high-end wide receiver 1? And he's going to boost himself back into that space he was in 2020?
If he could stay healthy, absolutely.
Do you try to sell him high before they draft another rookie?
Well, I think you could still keep him as your high-end wide receiver 1. I think that's still very much a possibility. I don't think they're going to go wide receiver first round, personally. I think they're going to wait until, like, the second and get someone with, I probably would say probably best available in the first for them.
Question.
What's up?
In Dynasty League, what are you trading to get AJ Brown?
I don't know. I don't have really the means or the need to do that,
If you're an AJ Brown owner, what are you accepting?
Like 2 firsts, and you better give me someone with some recognition as well. I don't know, like a wide receiver, like someone who I can put in my flex, basically.
KJ Osborne.
Something like that, yeah.
KJ Osborne and like a late first and an early first.
Something like that. I mean, like, it depends. Like, if it could even be like back-to-back year first too. Like, it doesn't matter.
That's a lot for a receiver, though.
It is.
Because then what does Justin Jefferson go for?
I don't know. Shoot.
Like 3 firsts?
No. I would
2 firsts and a second?
2 firsts, a second, and maybe, I don't know. Yeah, like that could be enough.
Early first 1 year, late first another year, and a second round either year.
Yeah, something
Preferably
like that.
first year.
Something. I don't know. Like it's all up to the owner. I mean, there's a lot of trade calculators out there that can tell you what they think the value is, but at the end of the day, it's what the owner values them at. So there's obviously a personal aspect to it all. So don't forget to feel that with your trades. I don't know, man. Like I hate people like selling out because of like what a trade calculator says.
Yeah.
Like you
gotta
gotta
go with your gut. Those things I used to put a lot of faith in,
Yep.
and I still do sometimes if I just want to like figure out maybe how they're thinking.
Yeah, it's nice to know like the basis of what they're thinking, like
Yeah.
you said, but like at the end of the day, like if it's close or like if
But
this
another person is also justified in having a differing or like
100%.
an opposite position on how you feel about somebody.
Right, exactly, and that's the personal aspect to it, and that's what you have to go with. Like I could be completely wrong on how you feel, but I mean,
Because who's to say that you're right on the take?
unless until I'm proven right on the take, I'd say.
Yeah, and that happens, a little bit later. But that's a really good point. So I'd have to hold AJ Brown.
100%, I'm holding them, but like you said,
But
if I'm giving someone up like that,
if somebody's giving me 2 firsts this year, I'm taking the 2 firsts.
yeah.
If someone offers me 2 2022 firsts, I'm gonna go get myself Traylon Burks, Jameson Williams, Jahan Dotson.
Someone with some really good upside.
And situations are gonna be determined by them, but
For sure.
I'd rather have 2 of those than one guy, no matter what their injury history is. But if you give me 2 top tier talents, I'll take that over 1. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like obviously you gotta feel like you gotta look at what's happening. I don't think AJ Brown's gonna be going anywhere soon.
hopefully not.
So I don't. I see
Hopefully
him just vibing in Tennessee for a while still, being our for wide receiver 1.
Keeping it in the same division, my last question for the day is about the Colts.
Sure.
So they don't have a quarterback right now.
No.
It doesn't look like they're getting a quarterback anytime soon. And they're either going to have to make a splash trade. They're not getting Deshaun Watson. They already said no to that.
Yep.
And everyone's talking about Baker going to the Colts, but I don't understand how that happens.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I see how it happens. I do.
How would it happen?
Well, I mean, it just depends. Like I said, like if it's like a 3-way trade where everyone's able to kind of like move their assets a different way, I think the Colts, they have enough young assets to move elsewhere, and I think the Browns have assets they can move as well.
Okay.
And the Texans, they have Deshaun Watson.
True.
So I think if they're able to work out something, obviously 2 of them are in the same division, yes.
Okay.
But as long as the quarterback of Deshaun Watson isn't ending up in the same division, and as long as Baker isn't ending up in the same division, I think it's all Gucci. Like, yeah, you might play each other down the line, but like you're not playing each other twice, and I think that's what really matters.
That is what really matters.
So I don't know. I would say that's my personal preference on that. I would say Baker going there for like, I don't know, like a first and, well, I don't know if he goes for a first, maybe like a second and like another asset. And if Deshaun, if he gets like the Browns first, like a Colts third, and I don't know, like a couple other things. I don't know.
I would accept that.
Like it's obvious. I don't know, man. Like it would have to be worked out perfectly.
I got more breaking news.
What's up? Hit me with it.
The Dolphins signed another running back.
Who'd they get?
Raheem Mostert.
What? Good for them, dude.
And Mike McDaniel's system again.
Yeah, that's gonna be sicko, dude. That's gonna be unreal. They're gonna have a really good back, but Chase Edmonds stock down. I'm so happy I didn't trade for him, dude. I was thinking about it too. Honestly, dude, I saw that. I was like, oh, dude, I could have 2 starting running backs.
Oh, I fucked up.
But
I fucked up.
Now I'm glad I didn't.
Fuck.
I'm so happy I didn't. No.
Yeah, I fucked up. But during free agency, if your player gets into a favorable position and they're on a team that is pretty active in that space, so they're looking for your replacement, or that's obviously a place of need. Before the draft, I'm selling those players at peak value. That's like the one artificial boost they get like a year.
So what you're saying is sell high, buy low?
Basically.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the advice. I really appreciate that.
That's great profits. Great profits.
Great profits.
Crazy.
Great economics.
Nuts. But yeah, no. And I was going to say that does hurt Chase Edmond a little bit. But I think regardless, he's going to be the PPR guy. That was always his role, and he was projected where he's projected because that's going to be a really efficient, side of his offensive,
Yeah, I think he's still going to be productive. I think he'll probably still be like a top 40 back or something. I think Raheem Mostert, I think he's
25, top 25.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Good. You can think all that if you want. I hope he gets top 25 for you while he's on your team. But I think Raheem Mostert is going to be the true running back on that team.
I think Raheem Mostert hasn't been healthy for like the last 3 years.
That's true. Yeah, he hasn't been consistently healthy. You're not wrong. But like, if you can get into a different system to where
that would just throw. If they don't draft another running back, that would just throw Edmonds into like a workhorse role. Miles Gaskin's there, but
yeah, dude, they got 3 really good running backs there. I don't think Chase Edmonds' stock should be anywhere close to top 25.
Really? I think that with Tua or Teddy Bridgewater in the back, there's going to be a lot of dump offs. Regardless, there's going to be a lot of short throws. There's going to be a lot of running backs.
All 3 of those running backs will be out there blocking, though. That's the thing.
Well, Edmonds is more so like the specialty guy, and he also got he's getting paid the most of anyone on that team right now.
True. He could possibly be the featured back, but I think, man, like if they have all 3 of those guys, that's a fantasy nightmare. That's kind of like what we were talking about last week.
Yeah, dude. It is.
Like you have 3 guys. Who's gonna pop off either week? I have no clue. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. So Edmonds is set to make $2 million this year, but then next year he's got to make 5.6.
Gotcha. Cool.
But he's a $6 million dead cap hit this year, which obviously is going to be there for the season. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch. Hopefully, if they don't draft someone, then you can kind of project it the way San Francisco did it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to draft another running back at this point.
Because I think Raheem Mostert has always been their lead back when healthy.
Yeah, I think that's what it's always been the destined to do.
Yeah, but they have like Kyle Juszczyk out the backfield and other guys like
you got
Jeff Morris.
Yeah, you got a lot of running backs in that system now in the 49ers. I can understand why they let go of Morris for sure.
Jeff Wilson, sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there.
Mm-hmm. So Raheem Mostert got a 1-year, $3 million deal.
So he's technically getting paid more than Chase Edmonds this year.
No, he's not.
Technically.
Or I guess, yeah, technically. Yeah, so he could probably slot into like that.
He is a little older, but he could definitely be productive if he's healthy.
Yeah, he's 27 or 28.
But if you look at his Madden speed, he's like a 96.
Oh, he's the fastest dude in Madden.
Yeah, dude, that's dank.
He's fast as fuck.
Yeah, so I don't know. That could definitely be something out there, man. Good for Miami. That's a good get. That could be a Patriot speeder for sure.
Facts. Shit. Well, good episode. I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, should we get a tasty beat here and rock it out?
You got one?
Yeah, I can see what I got. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Big Packer owner.
Big Packer owner. Oh, should I go Packers then?
Yeah, play green and yellow. Bye. Wayne.
Sure, yeah.